So, Ranahmassa, the name, where did it come from? What does it mean?
¿Qué significa de Ranahmassa?
Era como reino de masa.
Yeah.
Kingdom of Massa.
El reino de la masa, porque era una conjugación de dos palabras, do word.
Yeah.
And
I got you. Well, okay, so basically, sort of like the king of the realm, but it's also kind of like a play on words that one night we were trying to come up with a band name. I remember, and Carlos he had like just a scratch piece of paper that he had just been jotting down, like, you know, different words and word combinations and all this kind of stuff. And if I remember right, it was like two different sections of the page. There was Rana and Massa, and I just thought that meant something. I thought that felt like something, you know. And then we got to talking about it and talking about like the meaning of the words, and we started like researching what the words meant in different languages and just all that kind of stuff. And it was just a really cool combination of stuff. But if you really like mix it up, like we have a logo that's, you know, it's basically like a like the mythical mystic Yoda frog of, like, you know, the seventh dimension.
Yeah, I got to get one of those fucking shirts. That shit is hot, by the way. Like, it's looking good.
We're excited to get that out and just have people to be able to wear it, because I mean, we just I found this really amazing artist that goes by Psychop Art, and really cool guy, and he's actually from Indonesia, and I just recently learned that. You know, I was chatting with him, and, you know, just, you know, learning about him, and you know, and where he was in the world, and he's in Indonesia, but he just does really cool artwork, you know. And as soon as I came across his page, because we had been friends on Facebook for a long time, but I came across his page and started looking through his portfolio, and I was just like, I know this guy can do something that, like, you know, captures the essence of, you know, what we kind of felt like the I mean, what do you guys think about the shirt?
las poleas.
Sí.
Bien, la rana.
Sí.
El logo.
Sí, buen diseño.
Buen diseño. Original. Original.
Yeah.
Original. El concepto de la rana, bastante original y una rana psicodélica.
Psychedelic frog, man. Yeah. That's what we wanted. we said, you know what, this is like our mascot, because at first we were kind of like, we just loved the sound of, I just remember that we just kept saying the word over and over again, like it was becoming like a mantra, you know. And the more we said it, the more we liked it. And as that all was happening, you know, we started researching like possible meanings of the word and all this kind of stuff. So once we kind of figured out that the frog was like a pretty main definition of that, we just kind of rolled with it, man. We were like, well, I mean, frogs are pretty sweet. You know, like
frogs could be metal as fuck.
You have a frog and he throws up the horns, it's like you're done, man, you know. But I actually, in my mind, was almost thinking like Battletoads.
Hell yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that we're not going to come out with a Battletoads t-shirt at some point.
Oh, holy shit. If y'all were drawn as Battletoads.
Fucking shirt.
That's right. There was only 3 Battletoads, right?
Right.
There was
at least
3
main ones. There are now. Fuck it. I don't care how many there are.
So, well, speaking of, you know, the psychedelics and stuff, drug use, the EP has got, it's really thunderous, and it's really fast paced, and it wouldn't be normally something I'd throw on, that style of music isn't something I'd throw on a soundtrack, you know, or a playlist when I was getting heady. But you guys seem to blend a lot of that like psychedelic feel into it. The shifts in the songs, especially in the later half of the album. Was that something y'all planned on doing out the gate, or is that something that just kind of happened naturally because you know, hang out and smoke weed and talk about psychedelic frogs and shit?
You can.
No, pregunto porque igual el tema de la rana es bastante psicodélica de por sí.
Sí.
Y en la música que ustedes realizan, de por sí es bien fuerte, es potente, es heavy. Entonces, ¿cómo lograron ese efecto de mezclar un poco lo psicodélico con lo rockero, lo potente que son?
Drogándonos.
No, ya.
Yeah, I think it's that we're all familiar with the concept of psychedelics.
Good.
Just the
Good answer.
just the theory,
Good
just the
idea.
concept, of course. Just
Good
the
idea.
Right.
yeah, just the concept, the theory of psychedelics. We've got that pretty well worked out.
Todo calzó, todo calzó. Como que la rana con el concepto y con lo que se quería mostrar calzaba todo, entonces nació Ranahmassa.
Ranahmassa.
It almost like the concept kind of fed into itself a little bit, and we had been jamming and making the music for a good while before we settled on what we felt like the overarching theme of the band was, in terms of the band name, the art style. I mean, who knows? Our art style could change over time, But for right now, this particular project, this EP, everything on it was just really natural. I mean, we had limited time to practice, limited time to record, and so and in the beginning, we had at least from my perspective, that was over a year ago that we really first started jamming, I think. So at that time, my Spanish was okay, but it was like, I could learn more. So in the beginning, we had to rely more on just music, like 1, 2, 3, 4, play. Like, okay, is this good or bad? It wasn't, we couldn't sit there and explain away 45 minutes worth of like how we wanted the song to sound and go over the math and go over all these things. I mean, we just had to kind of like play. And
That's fucking sick, man. That's fucking awesome. Like, music is the universal language, man, and like you proved it.
El lenguaje universal.
Yeah.
Porque el Robert al principio tampoco podía hablar muy bien el castellano, el español, entonces no podían pasar como 45 minutos, una hora descifrando qué es lo que tenían que hacer, lo que querían hacer y lo que realmente hicieron. Entonces el Robert decía que al principio su español estaba bien, pero igual se podrían comunicar. Pero lo que sí nunca falló era la música.
Sí.
La música.
El lenguaje.
Sí.
Como las matemáticas es universal.
Siempre fue que Robert, hey, amigo, ven a tocar aquí en la casa.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Come over and jam, basically. Like hey, come over and play now. Okay. See you there in 20 minutes.
¿Vaya a venir o no?
And,
Hey, Robert. Hey.
but what was really, really cool was pretty early on we went to Ramses' studio, which that is a really, really, really beautiful, like professional, awesome recording studio. I mean, he's really got a lot of great equipment in there, and he's a really, really good engineer and all that. And pretty early on, we just kind of went there, and we're just like, and at that time it was just me and Carlos, but we went and we just sort of recorded ideas. We had everything set up. We just 1, 2, 3, 4 jammed live, and I think we did about 8 hours worth of studio work. And again, it was probably like a 4-hour session jamming, and another 4-hour session where we kind of came back and tried to recreate some of the stuff that we did the first time after we had time to sort of like think about it and come up with more ideas. But the most coolest thing about those sessions was that the songs on the EP, Cambrico and Afterworld, those were like total improvs, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, play. And what you're hearing on the record is like a one-off jam that we never duplicated again, and we had never played before. Like, it was literally just Carlos had like a patch. I mean, you remember like on Afterworld, for example.
Yeah.
Tiene tu sonido.
Yo me acuerdo que conecté el amplificador, regulé el efecto. ¿Y qué hacemos? No sé, ya, mira, y de repente miraba a Robert por el cristal y lo veía y Robert estaba ta. Y ahí salió el tema.
Sí,
Simplemente.
al tiro. Entonces, those songs just came from a spur of the moment. That's
Yeah.
really what it boils down to. Is, you know, Carlos found like a patch on his guitar, just kind of hit a couple strums. I heard the sound, and it was just like, all right, let's go. And we just played. So that was just really fun. And I've never done anything similar to that, except for like back in the day whenever I was playing in Beat Doctors, you know, and that was a little bit of improv and stuff like that. But even then, I mean, that was nowhere near like committing something to tape, you know, and being like, okay, that's a song structure. You know, we're gonna turn this into like a finished song.
Well, I think I actually commented on that in the review, that it felt like a jam. It felt like three dudes just banging out some tunes and going with it. It's a really, really rad sound that y'all captured. A lot of bands can't just jam and then hit record and fucking throw that shit on a goddamn record, you know?
Son los mensajes de la rana que canalizamos.
Yeah.
Sí.
Algo así.
Dentro de los temas hay ciertas figuras o paisajes que es como caracterizar o caricaturizar un poco la rana en el sonido. Por ejemplo, en el Eye for an Eye, en la parte final, hay una parte que es como instrumental. Entonces, es como la parte característica de la rana que estuviera manifestándose dentro de la misma música. Entonces yo encuentro que eso es...
La versatilidad de la rana igual que se puede... O sea, puede adaptar quizá a varios... Puede ser terrestre...
Amphibian.
Claro. ¿Cachai? No se puede... Todo eso el concepto de la rana, quizás.
Y aparte que de que sea alucinógeno, la rana es un... No sé, mi concepto... Primero cuando partí haciendo música con el Robert era tratar de hablar de un poco de la ecología, del mundo del cambio climático. Lo empezamos en ballena, ¿te acordás de The Whale? Empezamos en ballena y después como que a lo mejor si viviéramos en la costa, si tuviéramos playa, a lo mejor nuestra, no sé, sería una ballena, pero vivimos acá cerca de ríos, no sé cómo llamarlos, pero...
Más nativo, claro, algo así como un bosque.
Un bosque, claro, una rana era lo principal. Pues.
Lagos, bosque, humedad.
Y después el concepto se va dando solo.
Sí.
Yo creo, sí, se va dando solo.
Can you just translate that a little bit for Jason, just so he could...
Basically, it's going back to the theme of the frog itself. The fact that it has so many periods, so many changes, and well, we're physically surrounded by forests, by that sort of native that allows frogs to be around. So maybe if they would have been on coastline, their animal would have been completely different. But the fact that they focused themselves on a frog, the evolution in and of itself is something that was, I guess you could say...
Metamorphosis.
The metamorphosis of the frog of itself, you can actually try to reproduce that in the music. So the fact that it's never something consistent, and really, how can you put Ranahmassa into a genre? What would that genre specifically be?
Right, like that's what
that's what I think is so cool about Ranahmassa is how, I mean, like, you get a heavy overtone of I hate name dropping bands, but that second wave nu metal late 90s kind of vibe where you had, you know, Machine Head was getting into like real groove heavy stuff. You had White Pony come out and it was real groove heavy, but where you guys have that kind of sound, you also blend all of these other rock and metal genres into it. And it was just, every time I sat down and listened to it, I was like, holy shit, there's something else. You know, there were even tones of like, that I got of like U2 and stuff in